So what if your specific person has been a certain way for an extreme length of time? They've got habits or perhaps even addictions or personality traits that have not been merging well with yours. Perhaps you've been in a relationship with them before, or in a relationship, and it's just broken everything down because there's like this version of them that perhaps is different to what you were used to, and it's all you've known, and you're wondering, can that even change? What if I was to tell you that the version of your specific person that you wish to experience, the ideal version, is already in existence, and changes are incredible? You're not going to believe this success story. Actually, it's got quite a twist to it. It's quite interesting. And I encourage all of you to sit through it till the end. She's gone into details, 16 minutes of her voice note, because she's excited to share it and share the details. And I know with my clients, I always ask them for details. That's why a lot of the emails that I would get sent from my clients are very detailed as well, because I ask for it. I encourage it. I think it's important for you to see the mindset of everyday people like yourself who struggle with it, who might have obsessive tendencies, who are struggling with the manifestation process in general. And if you've got certain disorders or anxiety or obsessive compulsive disorders or anything like that, then we have to nurture this and show you that you are not these labels or mental health conditions or ADHD or OCD or autistic or PTSD or whatever. You are not these labels, and these do not have to be a hindrance to your manifestation journey. Plus, it doesn't matter how long someone has been a certain way. It doesn't matter how long you have experienced that version of them. The ideal version is in existence, and it's just up to us to reveal it's existing now as potential, and we can reveal that at any time that we choose. But of course, I understand that it's not always easy, and that's why these success stories as well are important. It's not for you to make comparisons as such, it's for you to realize that you're not on your own, that these things can happen, and if they can do it, you can too. And that's why I spend these Fridays dedicating to your successes, and it doesn't matter if you've coached with me or not, if it's your success or a family member's success that you thought was worth sharing, if it was before you knew about the law or after you knew about the law, it doesn't matter. And at the moment, because my intentions have been so strong, as they always are, particularly for my clients, I've had quite a few client success stories, and I'm trying to encourage my clients now to voice note or call in. Of course, some of them are really fearful and want to protect their privacy, and I respect and understand that. But I also want to show you guys that, listen, this isn't just random comments from could be anybody and stuff. This is real people. Listen to their story, listen to their voice, real life people. And the reason that my success rates are so high is not because I need to coach with people for months and months and months on end, thousands of times or whatever. It's because I expect to see change, and I give you the tools that is lifelong transformation in all areas of your life. It's not just about SP. Her life has changed incredibly. Success in her career, new home. It's beyond measure. All of her desires have been realized, including her SP. And she actually says at the end of her voice note when I was listening to her and stuff that she's got to find new things to desire for at the moment because she's feeling truly, truly blessed. But there's some very important information in here, especially for those of you who are feeling like things are not working, or you've been on this journey the longest time, you're getting frustrated, or maybe you have anxiety or obsessive tendencies. You see here, I'm trying to create a community that is balanced. I want to thank everyone as well. My last video got, a lot of views and a lot of interest, and many of you were grateful in understanding the way to use affirmations that do not exacerbate mental health, do not exacerbate things like OCD and anxiety, understanding cognitive dissonance. If you want to understand the psychology as well behind manifesting, if you want to nurture your mental well-being in a community that is inclusive of everybody, then please join this channel. I'm not here to tell you that affirmations are the only way. Affirm. In fact, I don't use them myself. I'm here to show you a holistic approach that anything can work for you. Every technique has its use for everybody. And just because some people cannot use affirmations, they should not be bullied. They should not be told they're stupid. They should not be told they're doing something wrong. Affirm more, persist more, because everyone's minds are wired differently. And that's why I dedicated my life to studying modalities of therapy. My success rates are so high because it's not a one size fits all, because it's about working in harmony with the mind. And if they can do it, you can too. And the very fact that you're here means that all of you are destined for success. Now, I'm going to play this voice note in a sec. I just wanted to say as well, thank you for those of you who have joined our Discord community. There's something that we discovered as well. A lot of people are joining. They're enjoying chatting to Neville, as well as the community members, as well as myself and Joseph. For those of you who say, for example, couldn't afford one-to-one coaching, and unfortunately with UK laws, I have to include VAT tax now as well, which has really affected costs. So now I'm going to dedicate my time to finding ways of coaching all of you in a way that is affordable for all. And it hasn't been put in there, but on the top tier of our plan, you're going to have workshops with Joseph. You're going to have access to Neville 24/7 and the community. You're going to have me as well. We're going to be doing group hypnosis, group coaching sessions. So join now, and that's going to be on the top tier. And like I say, every one of you will have access to Neville. And those of you who have anxiety, because a lot of my clients are on the Discord, they don't really talk in the community yet. Some of them have a bit of anxiety. You can private chat with myself or Joseph. You can private chat with the Neville Goddard bot 24/7. That's what they've been doing. And we're conducting some experiments, and people are getting success with Neville already. Neville is helping people manifest. So you don't have to do this alone, guys. So just making sure. I had this feeling that I didn't put my microphone on. I thought, oh my God, because I've done that once before. I've been talking to myself. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to play this voice note. Did you guys get a hot drink? You better, because it's kind of a long one. And I'm going to let her do the rest. Okay, here we go.
Hey Athena, so I wanted to share my success story. It's a bit of a long one, and it was quite a while in the making. So I guess to start off, it was sometime around 2023. Or even earlier. For years, really, I've been in a really bad relationship. I mean, obviously, there are good things about it, which is what kept me in the relationship for such a long time. I was married and had been with him for over 10 years, and there was a lot of love, but we would fight constantly. I would say there's a lot of immaturity on his part, and also on my part. I probably was unaware of a lot of the attachment issues and kind of inner wounds I had that made me react inappropriately, or maybe not know how to bring up things in a way that was, I guess, helpful to the relationship. And for his part, there were all sorts of lifestyle incompatibilities, and he often had a temper, and just a lot of things weren't working well, and I really wanted to get a divorce. I even told my dad that I wanted to get a divorce from my husband, and he was not on board with this at all. Come from a pretty religious family, and obviously my husband didn't want that either. And we tried counseling, and we tried all sorts of things, but nothing really stuck or seemed to make a difference. So in any case, at one point I went home to see my dad, so I went on a flight on my own. And at the airport, I met this guy. He kind of bumped into me. He started talking to me. I didn't really think too much of it. I thought he was kind of cute, and turns out he was on my flight. And that was like pretty big surprise, first of all, because we're in a gigantic airport. And we get split up because I'm not like trying to, stick by his side or anything. I know I'm married, and even though the relationship isn't going well, I'm not like trying to make anything happen. I do kind of think though, like, oh, I wonder what happened to that guy, or maybe it would have been interesting to talk to him more. And when I board my plane, I think, what if he sat next to me? Like, what if he's in the seat right next to me? And as I get closer to my seat, I'm like, I bet he's going to sit next to me. And yeah, lo and behold, I get to my seat. I see him sitting in the middle seat right next to where I'm supposed to be sitting. And we both look at each other kind of wide-eyed. And I'm not a super chatty person. I probably wouldn't have talked to him much if we hadn't met earlier. But because we had that brief interaction, we're both like, okay, there's something here. Let's talk. And yeah, he actually matched up almost all of the ideal characteristics that I had written out in a list when I was kind of struggling with my relationship and was thinking about what I really wanted in my ideal partner. He was tall, he was handsome, he was in great shape, he had his own business. He was very accomplished, a lot of like free time, and had all sorts of things, even stuff that I didn't even write out, but I just found very attractive. And he took a strong interest in me. Nothing really romantic, but obviously we're on like a 7-hour flight, so we had a lot of time to kind of talk with each other, get to know each other. And he revealed or confided in me about his past relationship, and I felt comfortable kind of disclosing about my relationship and the issues that I had. And that's when we started to realize that there was like some chemistry. Obviously nothing happened. It was like a flight. I think I leaned on his shoulder at one point, and yeah, it was pretty cute. But anyway, so we decided to stay in touch because obviously there was some sort of connection between us. Turns out that he was moving to the city that I was from, and neither of us were flying there or really had any connection to that city at this point. And he was moving there right after my visa in the UK, where I was living at the time, expired. So I don't know, it just seems like a lot of crazy coincidences. Like we met at the airport, he sat next to me, we had a lot in common. I would say things, and he would pull out his journal where he like was writing about that exact topic, and this happened like multiple times. That was really adorable. And he matched up all of these characteristics. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? And so we stayed in touch, and I kind of planned to, I was like, this is the sign I need to end my relationship and finally pursue what I really want. And so I was like planning on breaking up. And I told my husband about this when I got back home, and he started to make a lot of changes. I mean, not a lot of changes. He, like a few changes. Like he stopped smoking weed, which I felt like was causing a lot of issues between us. And I was like, okay, let me give this another shot. Keep in mind, I tried to break up like hundreds of times prior to this. So, but like I was still very, I don't know, had a difficulty in breaking up. So I decided to give it another shot with my husband, and although me and this guy had been talking for a while, I decided to cut off, like, I told him, like, if I move, I'll get in touch with you, and I also was getting really obsessed with him. I would just, like, think about him constantly, and I think especially because he was someone who I idealized and kind of matched up with all these ideal qualities, and it was very easy to put him on a pedestal. And he was also not super communicative, I think because, you know, I wasn't actually ready to be in a relationship yet, so he was kind of giving me space. But he made me realize that I was limerent for him, and that was what tipped off like all these attachment issues for me. And this is what led me to think about and learn about attachment theory, and find out that I had a lot of inner wounds that needed to be healed before I could be in any sort of healthy relationship with anyone, regardless of who it was. So anyway, my relationship continued on, but it wasn't really shaping up the way I wanted it to be. I decided that, like, you know, I gave it another chance. I gave it a chance for like 9 months, and it wasn't working out. And so I made plans to leave. I was actually in a really toxic job with, I don't know, it was just like a horrible situation where my manager was just being the worst kind of person to me, and I knew I needed to quit. And so I decided this would be a good chance for me to kind of like be a forcing mechanism for me to go back home, and find jobs there. And this is around when I got in touch with Athena. So I told Athena that I was open to working things out, or things working out with my husband, with this other guy, or with someone totally new. And I wasn't really attached to whoever or whatever it was. I did obviously still have like a lot of limerence towards this other guy, but I knew that I didn't know much about him, and it's possible that it won't work out, and that I was kind of obsessive, and that wasn't great. The session with Athena was really helpful. First of all, I appreciate that you're like flexible and when I couldn't, had to like break up the call, and it was difficult to kind of arrange in my personal time. You were willing to have me do like voice notes and even answer questions outside of the call, which I found super helpful because sometimes I don't always think of things immediately when we're speaking. And also, we did a guided visualization, and that kind of helped me clarify like what it was I was looking for, or actually clarify that I wasn't sure. That was helpful for me to know. And also, I felt like I got quite because I can get quite obsessive about things, and including manifestation. It almost, I don't know, led to blockages in my manifestation because I would get so obsessed with it and kind of constantly compare it to where I'm at or what my situation is with what I want it to be. And I felt like as soon as I booked a session, I could just let go my desires to Athena in a way, and she would take care of it, I guess, is like my thought. And even after we had the session, I'm like, Athena's got my back. So anyway, so I ended up finding a great job with a great salary, great manager, everything I wanted basically, and decided to make my move back to the US and use that as like a forcing mechanism to break up, because I found it really hard to break up with my partner when we lived together. So as soon as I moved, I broke up with my partner, and I told him that it's for real this time. That's partly why I made the move and made this huge change, because I found it so difficult to end things while we were still together. I contacted the other guy, and again, Athena was helpful in reassuring me that my manifestation wouldn't get messed up if I initiated contact. Like these kind of small things of like, am I messing things up if I do this? And being able to ask Athena was really helpful just to get like her opinion. And it was always very supportive and grounded advice, I felt. And so I really appreciated that. And this other guy, even though it's been like many months without being in contact with him, he responded immediately and was interested in getting together. So I was like, okay, cool. But he was out of town for a few weeks. And in that time, even though me and my partner broke up, obviously, it's very difficult to break up because I love him a lot. And so we talked almost every day. Not like, I mean, not to the same extent as we would have if we were still together, but there's still things that we need to arrange, and like paperwork and other things relating to our marriage, and also his move to be in this country as well, because we had already started this visa process long ago. So I still needed to be in contact with him, and I still wanted to be in contact with him. And I was just like looking between, the discrepancy between the conversations he was having and what he wanted from me versus what this other guy wanted from me, which seemed to just be to hook up basically. And I didn't really like that. I wasn't really interested in just hooking up. I'm interested in a long-term, loving, committed relationship. So because of the delay, and also because it seemed like he was just interested in hooking up, I decided not to meet this guy. And after a few months of talking with my husband, I decided to give it another shot between us, because he had actually not only made almost all of the changes, if not all the changes I wanted him to. Actually, almost all. There's one thing that he hadn't done, which is quit smoking cigarettes, which is obviously a very difficult habit that he's still working on. But in terms of like sleep, he went from being completely nocturnal, I mean, literally staying up until 6 to 9 a.m. and pulling all-nighters multiple times a week, having a really unhealthy work-life balance, to going to bed at 11 p.m. and having better boundaries at work. He made better, other health decisions, quit smoking weed completely, and also, obviously, I wasn't there anymore, but he took care of things around the house, and would show me his progress, and leaving the whole house and taking on those kind of household responsibilities, and realizing how much that he had taken me for granted in that regard, and how he would never make that mistake again. And I don't know, just all sorts of things. And he just not only did it, but he did it for himself. because he had kind of accepted that the relationship wasn't going to work anymore between us for a while. Like, he was still hopeful, but he accepted that it wouldn't. And also he had stuck with those changes for quite a while. So I ended up not dating anyone else or seeing anyone else, but I got back into I did try like downloading some apps. I'm like, I hate this. A lot of you could probably relate, but I just was not interested in it. And so anyway, long story short, very long story short, my husband moved here, and we've just been incredibly happy. We have a really beautiful apartment. Because we spent some time apart and I was on my own, I was able to develop a lot of new friendships. We're planning on getting a dog together, and it just seems like everything is working out. Like, I honestly feel so incredibly grateful for the life I have. It makes me want to cry sometimes, and I'm trying to find like ways of giving back, because I feel like I'm just full, you know? Like, my job is good, my relationship is good, my relationships outside of work is good with my family. I live in this beautiful space in a beautiful city. I get like sunshine every day, and I honestly haven't done too many techniques to get to this point. And I think sometimes when I do techniques, again, because I get obsessive about it, it doesn't always work out. I just kind of always maintain this belief that everything is working out, and that even when things don't work out, or they look bad or negative at surface level, I've had experiences in the past. Honestly, I've had like a near-death experience in which something that incredibly bad that happened to me ended up saving my life. So I just always maintain faith that things will work out. And that if I just like do my best and remain positive, and also show gratitude for what I have, that it will just circle back to me. And so far that's been the case. I hope it continues. And yeah, I just want to say once again, thank you for all your love and support, Athena. You've been so sweet and encouraging. And yeah, it's just so nice to feel like I have someone in my corner, and even if I have doubts or I don't know, things that I'm concerned with or don't know how to react or respond, like, I can always reach out to you. And now I feel like, I don't know, I've just ticked off everything that I want to tick off, and I almost need to like find more things to like want to manifest or go after. But yeah, I think it's a great place to be in, and I really appreciate all your support.
This is so, but plug myself back in. Yeah, this is so incredible. Now, you see, like, why it's so important to understand the workings of the mind. I've had so many people who have come traumatized, actually physically shaking, because they're getting told off. They're getting told, I mean, some people like the tough love. They like to be told off. They like to be told that they're a moron or an idiot. I've heard all sorts of things. It gets them motivated. But not everyone is like that, especially if they've gone through trauma. And someone like her, like, she had numerous times, she's described herself as an obsessive person. Can you imagine telling an obsessive person to affirm all day long? Can you imagine what that does? Do you think that helps, or do you think that exacerbates the problem? Because that keeps you focused on the very thing that you are obsessed about. So you've got to really pay attention to what your personality traits are, what your concept of self is, and nurture it, because there's so many different ways. You see, when I spoke to her, she didn't really have complete clarity. I think what had happened was, in her heart of hearts, and I could see this, her heart of hearts, she wanted her husband, but she'd been on the journey with him so much, and she had known him for so many years, and he had turned into this version that she didn't really recognize, didn't really get on with, became very incompatible. And so her obsessive nature, of course, meant that she was too close to it, too fixated on it. She couldn't separate herself from it enough to make this change happen. They had gone to couples counseling. They had gone to all of these things. She had been a follower of the law for a while before I had seen her as well. And everything that she was trying was just exacerbating it, was not making it any better. But you see, when we spoke, I got her to focus on what it was she wanted, regardless of him and regardless of this other SP who she believed maybe this is the new guy. She didn't really know. And so we spent the time gaining some clarity. And I always get my clients to, first of all, go general, because what a lot of you are doing is, And I don't mean go general as in you can't get your SP. The first step is clarity. And I can't get clarity if I'm too closely associated with what's going on. I can't manifest my SP if I'm stuck in the same state and I'm putting them in the same state, because I'm manifesting them from a place of what I think I can have based on what I already know about them. So what you're meant to be doing is you're meant to be thinking, what do I want with absolute clarity? And then I attach that version to my SP. And that's what we did. And that's why, you know, this bridge unfolded beautifully, because this guy was not her perfect person. He was there as a sort of distraction. He was there to give her the fire that she needed to make the separation with her husband, to go back to the States, to set up this life, because she had other desires. I don't just help people get their SP. It's not about that. This is a lifelong change. This is about you and a full deep dive transformation. Nothing is surface level with what we do. That's why I don't need to see people much. And that's why I realized that the importance of this, I want to make it accessible to as many people as possible. You don't need to be doing this, you know, constantly doing techniques. She said, did you hear her? She didn't do any techniques. I had already impressed her with what it is that she wanted. I'd given her that clarity. And in the session, I used actually conversational hypnosis to impress upon her, occupying that state of having that. And that's why effortlessly, even for someone with an obsessive disorder, as she would say, or an obsessive personality traits, was able to make the segregation enough that she had the distraction of this other guy as well, which helped her to segregate more, which then acted as the catalyst for her specific person after years of being a certain way, completely conformed. Controlled his addiction, right? He was dealing with his addictions with smoking and then with weed as well. And then, of course, starting to appreciate more of what she was doing, starting to clean up, starting to make lifestyle choices and change his habits from nocturnal patterns to one that aligned with her so that they could spend time together. The whole time he was nocturnal, everything was very segregated and disconnected. But we imagined, we got her to occupy the state of having this loving, complete wholeness, this long-term committed relationship, not where he's missing her and thinking about her, but a relationship where they are together, they are whole, they are one, they are secure, safe. That's how she's feeling on a day-to-day. And she occupied that state and it impressed upon her. You did fantastically well with that and that hypnosis. You just did it, even though our call did get disconnected. And I never abandon my clients. It's not like there's the session and that's it, it's done. You got questions, they can always ask me. And just when I was filming, because I got a bit distracted, I had a message come through from another client saying she wanted to share a success. So you guys are doing so well. This is for all of you. Even just by subscribing and joining this channel, you're all going to get success, because my intention goes broad and I'm going to teach you and give you all the skills that you need that works in alignment with your mental well-being, not against it. That's what this is about. If one technique doesn't work for you, use another. You're not an idiot. You're not a fool. You're not doing it wrong. You're not persisting enough. It's not persisting does not mean persisting with the techniques, and techniques are not who you are. Stop identifying with your techniques and stuff. They're just a tool. Use them or don't use them. You don't even need to use techniques. And I'm going to set you guys some challenges as well, because together we're going to start to manifest. I'm going to build up your confidence with these sessions. So my next video is going to be setting up a challenge for all of you, and I'm going to give you a method that you can try that's really going to help people, especially those with OCD or anxiety or ADHD or whatever it might be. Okay, so I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining. Share your success stories. Go to my website. There's a hell of a lot more success stories that all of you submitted, not just my clients, all of you, an array of them. You're all in an array of stages as well for your success. Love and appreciate you all. See you in the next video.